Imagine the vast velvet black canvas of space stretching endlessly before you, pierced only by the faint icy gleam of Saturn's rings. A colossal jewel suspended in the cosmic deep, whispering secrets that humanity has chased since the dawn of our wondering eyes. But what if, in the shadows of those rings, something stirs? Not a moon, not a rock hurled from some forgotten collision, but a shadow so immense it dwarfs our own world, gliding with a purpose that defies the cold mechanics of the universe. A vessel, alive with intent, 3,000 miles of shadowed hull cutting through the void like a predator's fin through midnight waters. And now, whispers from the heart of the U.S. Army echo through the halls of power. Footage, long buried, secretly released, capturing this behemoth in stark, unforgiving detail. Your heart quickens as the first grainy frames flicker to life. Saturn's golden orb looming, rings like frozen waterfalls, and there, emerging from the haze, it, a silhouette of impossible scale, pulsing with an otherworldly glow. What ancient force commands it? What eyes watch us from within? In this moment, the stars don't feel so distant anymore. They lean in close, breath held, as if the universe itself is on the verge of confession. Pull back from that mesmerizing glimpse and let the story unfold from the boots of a man who walked the front lines of wars, both earthly and unseen. Picture Robert Odin Dean, Bob to those who knew the fire in his soul, a soldier forged in the crucible of Korea's frozen hells and Vietnam's tangled jungles, where the air hummed with the crack of rifles and the ghosts of the fallen. Enlisting in the spring of 1960, he rose through the ranks. A command sergeant major by the time honor pinned a medal to his chest on that crisp October day in 1976. But Bob's battles didn't end with the ceasefires. They bled into the classified corridors of NATO's SHAPE headquarters in the 1960s, where the world's guardians huddled over maps not just of borders, but of skies that bled with lights no map could chart. There, amid the hum of typewriters and the weight of red-stamped files, Bob's world cracked open. Secret dossiers, passed hand to shadowed hand, spilled tales of lights dancing over bases, of crafts that hummed without engines, of beings, kind, ancient, woven from starlight, who reached out not with weapons but with a gentle curiosity that chilled the spine more than any bullet. Oh, the weight of those nights, as Bob pored over reports by lamplight, his calloused fingers tracing sketches of vessels that bent light like lovers' whispers. He spoke of them later, voice gravel rough from years of command, at gatherings where skeptics sharpened their doubts like bayonets. There are races out there, he'd say, eyes distant as if still scanning those horizons. 1 billion years ahead of us, tending gardens of worlds we can scarcely dream. Stars, he mused, birthing planets thrice as ancient as our sun, cradles for minds that had long outgrown the crawl of flesh and bone. And in those documents, the veil thinned. Encounters not of invasion, but of quiet communion, aliens gliding past patrols, their crafts pulsing with a benevolence that left soldiers staring skyward, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and forbidden awe. Bob's voice would drop then, laced with the ache of a man who'd seen too much to sleep easy. Governments, he claimed, weaving webs of silence, high brass gagged by orders etched in fear. Not malice, perhaps, but a trembling grasp at control in the face of the infinite. Feel the tension coil as Bob unveils his holy grail. The Assessment, a phantom tome of truths, its pages heavy with the blueprints of alien worlds and the fragile dance of our own. Reservations about our nuclear fire, he revealed. Those glowing silos we parade as might, seen by them as children's matches in a tinderbox galaxy. Shadowy cabals, burrowed deep in marble halls and brass-laden rooms, pulling strings to bury the light, twisting facts until truth became a myth whispered in dive bars and late-night forums. NASA, Bob's lip would curl in that wry, world-weary smile. Never a straight answer, he'd quip, the acronym a badge of betrayal. And who could blame the bitterness? 40 rolls of Apollo film, vanished like smoke. Moonwalks and orbital ghosts erased, lest the public glimpse the watchers who'd shadowed Armstrong's steps. Fast forward to that electric spring of 2023, when the Senate's chambers crackled with the storm Bob had long prophesied. Fighter pilots, voices raw from years of silenced skies, unleash their fury at the Pentagon's iron veil. "We've seen them," they testified, hands steady on Bibles. "Swarms of shapes that mock our jets, year after year, a ballet of the unexplained." The air thickened with their words, corroborating Bob's lifelong sermon. Not madness, but a mosaic of moments piecing together the hidden tapestry. And in the hush that followed, a deeper chill settled. What if these visitors wore our faces? Humanoid echoes, blonde and blue-eyed, slipping through crowds like echoes of forgotten kin. Their Nordic grace, a mask for motives as vast as the void. Why here? Why us? The question hangs like mist over ancient ruins, drawing you deeper into the labyrinth of longing. Scientists, peering through telescopes that drink starlight, ponder it in quiet labs, their minds alight with the thrill of the chase. Like explorers unearthing lost cities in jungle depths, these cosmic guests circle our blue marble, drawn by the flicker of our fire. Apes on the cusp, or cousins in the grand family tree? Curiosity, pure and piercing, the same spark that bids us lift eyes to the heavens. Or perhaps something sterner, scouts appraising a prize, sifting soil and streams for the pulse of potential homes. Samples vanish in the night, Earth's breath bottled, leaves plucked like secrets from a lover's garden. A database of worlds? A ledger of feasts? Whispers persist of grays, spectral and spent, weaving hybrids in hidden labs. Flesh fused with star stuff, bridges between dirt and dream, born of a lineage 30,000 seasons old. But linger on that shadow of invasion, the one that claws at the gut like a half-remembered nightmare. Since the 1930s, tales have seeped from the cracks, skies rent by saucers, worlds colliding in the fevered plots of Wells wars, where tripods scorch the earth for a foothold in our cradle. Hordes felled, resources ravaged, yet here we stand, unbroken, our arsenals a bristling hedge against the dark. Nuclear wards, glowing sentinels that give even gods pause, their fire a roar that echoes to the rim of creation. Or so some whisper. These watchers, deeming us wolves in sheep's wool, plot not conquest but cunning. Strands of our blood laced with theirs, a slow siege to tame the beast within. Wars unending, thrones toppling in endless cycles. No king to bind our chaos, no chorus to sing peace. Fear grips then. What if our rage, unchecked, hurls fire to their hearths, shattering civilizations in a blaze of our own making? Bob's warning lingers like smoke after the shot. Beware the infiltrators, the ones ascending thrones of power, their alien hearts cloaked in human guise. How to bridle the unseen. When titans like NASA and NATO barter in shadows, pacts sealed beyond our ken, the terror blooms, yet so does the light. Not all are phantoms of dread. Some dwell in folds beyond our flat gaze, threading dimensions like veins through marble, bridging realms where time unspools like forgotten yarn. Encounters bloom not in steel and storm, but in the quiet warp of now. Beings adrift from galaxy's edge, marooned in our skein of space, or exiles from epochs long dissolved. Dismiss it, and you court folly. Physics riddles, Einstein's echoes, cry for realms beyond the four we cling to. 10, 12, infinities where the impossible breathes. And then, the veil rends wide. July 25th, 2009. A lecture hall humming with held breath as Bob, voice trembling with the weight of revelation, unfurls images pilfered from NASA's vaults. Distraught, he mocks the agency's silence once more, then pivots to the crown jewel, a Voyager snapshot from 1980, Saturn's rings aglow like a halo of frost-kissed diamonds. Handed to him by Dr. Norman Berggren, that quiet giant of Lockheed's labs and Ames's halls, whose genius birthed the probes that kissed the gas giant's brow. Berggren's gift, a specter in the rings, moon-sized and malevolent in its majesty, a craft no accident of dust and ice. Enraged by the hush, he'd fled borders to birth his tome, ringmakers of Saturn, pages alive with the heresy that rings weren't born of chaos, but crafted, electromagnetic behemoths, elliptical titans 7,000 miles long, their exhaust scarring the void like dragon's breath. The image burns into your mind. A shadow stretching across Saturn's rings, a colossus that could cradle Earth in its hull, gliding with a grace that defies the cold indifference of space. You can almost feel the hum of its presence, a vibration that thrums through the void and into your chest, stirring a cocktail of dread and wonder. Dr. Norman Berggren's voice, steady as granite yet laced with the urgency of a man who'd seen too much, echoes through Bob Dean's trembling hands as he holds up that 1980 Voyager photograph. It's not just a picture, it's a confession carved in light, a truth NASA buried in archives colder than the rings themselves. Berggren, a titan of engineering whose mind helped hurl Voyager's gaze to the heavens, saw something in those frames that shattered his silence. Electromagnetic giants, he called them. Ships not of metal, but of energy woven tight. Their exhaust trails threading Saturn's rings like a seamstress stitching eternity. 7,000 miles long, dwarfing our moon, moving with intent. An intelligence that doesn't just watch but acts. You lean closer, heart pounding, as Bob's words paint the scene. Imagine a technology that builds something larger than our moon, artificial, roaming where it pleases, carrying thousands of souls inside. The air grows heavy, as if the universe itself holds its breath, waiting for you to grasp the enormity of it all. Rewind to those late nights in the 1960s, Bob hunched over classified files at SHAPE, the NATO nerve center where secrets were currency and trust a rare coin. His eyes, bloodshot from sleepless hours, traced reports of lights that danced over missile silos, crafts that hovered without sound, their hulls drinking starlight as soldiers below stood frozen, rifles useless. These weren't invaders, Bob insisted, voice cracking with the weight of memory. They were emissaries, ancient and kind, their curiosity a mirror to our own restless hearts. But the orders came down like iron curtains. Silence, redact, deny. A shadowy cabal, names never spoken, faces never seen, wove a tapestry of lies to keep the public blind. Bob's bitterness wasn't just for the cover-up. It was for the betrayal of a truth he believed could lift humanity's gaze from the mud to the stars. The assessment, that elusive manuscript he swore existed, held the blueprint. Alien civilizations. Their tech, a symphony of light and force, wary of our nuclear toys yet drawn to our potential. You can feel his frustration, a soldier's honor bruised by the secrecy, his call to arms not for war but for awakening. Now picture the rings of Saturn, those delicate bands of ice and dust spinning like a cosmic record, each groove hiding a story. Berggren's book, Ringmakers of Saturn, dared to rewrite the tale. Not chaos-born debris, but a crafted marvel, sculpted by minds that saw planets as canvases. He pointed to the exhaust, those shimmering trails caught in Voyager's lens, proof of engines beyond our crude rockets. The ships, he claimed, weren't just at Saturn. They circled the Sun, Jupiter, Uranus, anywhere rings whispered of order amid the void. You imagine them now, elliptical giants threading the cosmos, their hulls pulsing with energies we can't name, mining the rings for minerals like prospectors panning rivers of stardust. Why? To build? To feed? To prepare? The questions coil tighter, each one a hook in your gut pulling you deeper into the mystery. Bob's voice rises, fervent, as he describes a craft 2,000 miles long, 400 miles wide, a moon-sized enigma cruising through Saturn's moons, its surface alive with flares of energy. There has to be intelligence aboard, he says, and you nod, caught in the spell, because nothing so vast moves without purpose. Step back to Earth, where the whispers of invasion creep like frost across your thoughts. The 1930s flicker in grainy black and white, tales of saucers slicing the night, of wars imagined in radio waves that sent listeners screaming into the streets. H.G. Wells's invaders, tripod shadows scorching the earth, feel less like fiction when Bob speaks of motives we can't fathom. Are they here to claim our world, to strip its bones for resources? Or do they pause, wary of our nuclear fangs, those glowing silos that could burn galaxies to ash? Some researchers, voices hushed in academic halls, propose a darker game. a hybrid race, human and alien DNA, twined to bridge worlds, to tame us from within. The Greys, those spectral figures of lore, extinct in their own realms, seeking to weave their legacy into our blood. 30, 40 years, the theories lingered, fed by shadows in cornfields and lights over deserts. You shiver, picturing eyes that mirror yours yet hold the weight of 1,000 suns, watching from boardrooms, barracks, maybe even the mirror. But Bob, ever the dreamer beneath the soldier's steel, saw light in the shadow. These beings, he said, aren't bound to our flat plane of existence. They slip through dimensions like fish through coral, their reality a tapestry of 10, 12, countless threads where time and space bend like reeds in a cosmic wind. Encounters, he swore, weren't just ships in the sky but meetings across the veil. Beings from galaxies uncharted, or stranded travelers from Earth's own forgotten dawns. Dismiss them, and you dismiss the riddles of physics itself, the unsolved equations that taunt our greatest minds. Einstein's space-time, a mere doorway to infinities, were too young to walk. Bob's stories, scoffed at by lab coats and skeptics, carry the spark of wonder that drives us to the stars. What if he's right? What if the silence from NASA, from the Pentagon, isn't denial but fear? Not of aliens but of us, unready for the truth that we're not alone. Never were. Spring 2023, and the Senate chamber hums with a tension that crackles like static before a storm. Fighter pilots, faces weathered by skies and secrets, stand before microphones, their voices steady but eyes alight with defiance. We've seen them, they say, year after year, shapes that mock our wings, outpacing our fastest jets with a flick of their shadows. The Pentagon squirms, caught in the glare of truths too long buried. Bob's ghost hovers in the room, his decades of warnings vindicated as the pilots demand to speak without fear, without the lash of ridicule. The numbers stun. Hundreds of sightings, a fleet of the impossible, weaving through our skies like threads in a loom. You feel the weight of it, the realization that Bob's crusade wasn't madness but a beacon, illuminating a truth too vast for one man to carry. And yet the question lingers. Why the silence? Why the erased films, the locked vaults, the whispers of a cabal that trades in shadows? Back to Saturn, where the rings sing a siren song, and another image flickers into view. Not Berggren's Titan, but a smaller marvel, caught by Cassini's unblinking eye on March 7, 2017. A saucer, tiny against the planet's grandeur, just 21 miles wide, dancing in the A-Rings gap. Pan, they call it, after the wild god of music and wilderness, a moon that sweeps debris like a cosmic broom, carving a path through the ice. Carolyn Porco, Cassini's dreamer-in-chief, gasped at the images, mistaking them for art before the truth sank in. Real, raw, a walnut-shaped wanderer cloaked in ring dust. You see it in your mind's eye, spinning in its lonely orbit, a reminder that even the smallest players in this cosmic drama hold secrets. Pan's delicate skirt of particles, clinging to its waist like a lover's touch, whispers of gravity's gentle pull, a dance of forces we're only beginning to understand. And yet, it's the larger shadow that haunts you. Berggren's craft, its engines flaring, its purpose a riddle written in starlight. The contrast gnaws at you. Pan's quiet beauty, a moon we can name and measure against the unnamed giant that defies our charts. Bob's voice, now a memory, urges you to look closer, to see the intelligence in the flare, the intent in the orbit. Saturn, ever the trickster, unveils its wonders one glimpse at a time, each a thread in a tapestry we're too small to read. Are these ships builders, miners, watchers? Or are they us, mirrored across eons, our future selves whispering warnings we can't yet hear? The rings spin on, silent witnesses to a story still unfolding, and you're left breathless, caught between the awe of discovery and the fear of what lies just beyond the frame. The rings of Saturn shimmer in your mind's eye, a cosmic carousel of ice and secrets, spinning tales that pull you deeper into the unknown. That 3,000-mile shadow, the behemoth caught in Voyager's fleeting glance, lingers like a half-remembered dream, its presence a pulse that thrums through the void and into your bones. Bob Dean's voice, weathered by years of battles seen and unseen, carries you back to that lecture hall in 2009, where he stood, eyes ablaze, holding up images that NASA tried to bury. "This," he said, voice cracking with the weight of truth, "is no accident of nature." Dr. Norman Berggren's revelations fueled his fire. Those electromagnetic giants, weaving Saturn's rings like artisans crafting a crown for the heavens. You can almost see them, their hulls aglow with energies we can't name, trailing exhaust that scars the void with purpose. 2,000 miles long, 400 wide, a craft that could swallow our moon whole, moving with the grace of a predator stalking starlight. Bob's words echo, "There has to be intelligence aboard." Your heart agrees, racing with the thrill of it, the terror of it, the unbearable wonder of a universe that refuses to stay small. But step back, and the story spirals deeper, into the marrow of who we are. Bob Dean, soldier turned seer, carried a truth heavier than any metal pinned to his chest. We are not alone, never were. His claim, bold as a comet's arc, was that humanity itself is a tapestry woven by hands not of this earth. 200,000 years ago, he said, advanced beings, our cosmic kin perhaps, tinkered with the raw clay of our ancestors, threading their star-born essence into our blood. The ancient astronaut theory, scoffed at by lab coats but cherished by dreamers, pulses through his words. Picture it, a dawn-lit savanna, early humans gazing at skies that shimmered with visitors, their minds quickening under alien touch. Gifts of thought and fire, sparking leaps no ape could dream alone. Bob saw it not as chance but as intent, a deliberate sculpting to lift us from the dust, to forge a species that could one day reach back to the stars. You feel the weight of it, the audacity, a story that rewrites not just history, but the very soul of what it means to be human. The Sumerian myths, those ancient whispers etched in clay, hum in harmony with Bob's vision. The Anunnaki, gods from the heavens, shaping mankind with hands that wielded light instead of stone. Were they aliens, these sky-born creators, guiding our first steps, teaching us to build, to dream, to war? Bob believed it, his voice steady as he spoke of a dialogue unbroken across millennia, humans and starfolk, trading knowledge like merchants on a cosmic road. Not just genes, but tools, ideas, the spark of cities rising from mud. The pyramids, the Nazca lines, those cryptic glyphs carved into desert and stone. Could they be signatures of those who came before? Markers of a partnership we've forgotten? You stand at the edge of this thought, teetering between disbelief and awe, the world suddenly vast. Your place in it both smaller and grander than you ever imagined. Yet the shadow looms, the fear that coils beneath the wonder. If these beings shaped us, what do they want now? Bob's warnings cut sharp. Some walk among us, their faces too perfect, their eyes too knowing, rising to power in halls of steel and glass. Infiltrators, he called them, not with malice but with a soldier's caution, urging us to see the unseen. The Pentagon, NASA, NATO, titans of our world, yet pawns in a game they barely grasp, their silence a cage for truths too vast to hold. Spring 2023, and the Senate's chambers crackle with the voices of pilots, their stories spilling like stars across a black sky. Hundreds of sightings, crafts that dance beyond our physics, mocking our jets with effortless grace. The Pentagon squirms, caught in the glare of its own secrets, while Bob's ghost nods from the shadows, his decades of crusade now a chorus echoed by those who've seen. You feel their frustration, their yearning to speak without fear, to name the lights that haunt their skies. But the story twists again, back to Saturn, where the rings whisper of more than just giants. Cassini's lens, that tireless eye, caught a smaller marvel in 2017, a tiny moon, Pan, just 21 miles wide, spinning like a dancer in the A-Rings gap. You see it, walnut-shaped, cloaked in dust that clings like a lover's veil, sweeping the void clean as it orbits. Carolyn Porco, Cassini's poet of the stars, thought it art at first, a cosmic sketch too perfect for truth. Yet there it was, real as the breath in your lungs, a reminder that even the smallest players in this drama hold secrets. Pan's quiet grace contrasts with Berggren's Titan, that moon-sized craft pulsing with intent. One a natural wonder, the other a crafted enigma. Together, they frame Saturn as a stage where the universe plays out its mysteries. You wonder, are the rings a mine, a monument, a message? Do they hide fleets of watchers, or are they the work of a single mind, vast and lonely, sculpting beauty from chaos? The questions pile like stones, each one heavier than the last. Bob's life, his 41 years of service, was a bridge between our world and theirs, a plea to see beyond the veil. "We are a hybrid race," he said, voice soft but unyielding. "Born of their touch, bound to their legacy." The thought lingers, a spark in the dark. What if our wars, our triumphs, our endless reach for the stars are echoes of their design? Not control, but a nudge, a parent's hope for a child to outgrow its cradle. Yet the scientific world, bound to fossils and formulas, turns away, dismissing Bob's claims as dreams spun from shadow. The pyramids, the Nazca lines, they stand as riddles, defying easy answers, whispering of hands that might not have been human. Believers point to them, to ancient tales of sky gods, as proof that our story began elsewhere, while skeptics demand bones, not stories. You stand between them, caught in the pull of both, your heart leaning toward the stars. And what of us now? Bob's warnings, his images, his unshakable faith, they challenge you to look up, to question the silence that cloaks our skies. If aliens shaped us, if they watch us still, what do they see? A species teetering on the edge, our nuclear fires a threat to worlds beyond our own? Or a people on the cusp, ready to join the cosmic chorus? The rings of Saturn spin on, silent witnesses to a drama we're only beginning to grasp. Bob's voice fades, but his question remains. Are we ready to meet our makers, our kin, our shadows in the stars? The footage, those grainy frames of a 3,000-mile craft, burns in your mind, a beacon and a warning. You're left standing at the edge of the void, heart full of awe, fear, and a hunger to know more. The stars don't answer, not yet, but they're listening, and so are you.